Hi, and welcome along to AFTV Transfer Daily, the show that keeps you up to date with players that have been linked with a summer transfer move to Arsenal. And you know what? Bit of good news today. Not the doom and gloom of all the other days we've had recently. Arsenal actually got a positive link to a striker. And remember, we did that poll a few days ago, and 86% of you said that the main thing you want to see coming is a striker. Now, Arsenal have been very heavily linked with a striker today who goes by the name of, drum roll, Lucas Pérez. I know, you've never heard of him. But we have been linked with this guy very heavily today. El Confidencial, which is a Spanish publication, they're saying that Arsenal have made a bid of 20 million euros, which is basically his release clause of 16.9 million pounds, and they want him, and he wants to join the club. Now, he plays for Deportivo La Coruña. He's 27 years of age, Spanish. Actually going to be 28 next month, so he's not exactly a spring chicken. He's quite an old player, or oldish player. He's a player being his prime. He scored 17 goals last season for Deportivo, including a run of 7 straight goals, 7 consecutive goals, beating a club record held by the Brazilian legend Bebeto. He's also scored in a lot of big games. He scored against Barcelona last season, against Atletico Madrid, against Sevilla. He's never actually played for the Spanish national team, so he's not capped, which is very surprising if he's a sort of a top player, but it's a positive that Arsenal are in for him. You know, he's, I have to admit, I'm not going to tell no lies, I'll come clean right now, I hadn't really heard of him before. I've seen him play actually in La Liga, but because probably he's playing for Deportivo, it's gone right under the radar for me. I wasn't really paying attention to him. But in Spain, they're saying that he's a good player. If you go to YouTube and look at his YouTube highlights, right? His YouTube highlights look good. So did Yaya Sanogo's, right? But listen, it's a positive. He's a striker. We desperately need a striker, as we've seen. It's not that top quality, top class striker, Griezmann, Higuain, that we'd love to see at Arsenal. But at the moment, we know that those sort of strikers are just not available. They're not available. Lewandowski, Griezmann, where there's even been rumours that Arsenal have been trying to get Griezmann done. None of those sort of names are available at the moment. So we have to look on that next tier. That's just how it is. Now, then you've got to start looking at players that are like the level below, but you never know. You're taking a punt on them, but you never know. They could become the next big thing. So if you look at strikers, if I was thinking Alvaro Negredo, who is at Middlesbrough now, when he first came to City, no, you didn't really hear much about him, but he became a really good striker in the Premier League. You know, there's lots of strikers out there that, you know, when they've been signed, you didn't know much about them, and they became, you know, really, really good strikers in the Premier League. Vardy, you know, remember Vardy's 29, you know, and, you know, last season he just had that amazing season. The season before that, he hardly scored any goals, and he was just coming from the non-league. So sometimes you've got to, I don't mind that. I don't mind the fact that sometimes you've got to take a punt on a player, and maybe he could become the real deal. Is that going to be this guy, Pérez? Truly, 100%, we don't know, but we just need a striker. And looking at his goals, he's a guy who seems to be able to score all types of goals. He's a hungry goal scorer. And remember, I'm talking like we bought this guy. We haven't even bought him yet. These are just rumours, by the way, but they're being reported quite heavily in Spain. Mark are also going with the story as well. If this was to happen, for me, it'd be a positive, because we need a striker. Everton thought they were on the verge of getting this guy, and now it's looking like maybe he may come to Arsenal instead. So we'll have to wait and see what happens on that, but at least that's something positive. We're also being linked with another striker today, Islam Slimani. We've been linked with this guy before, scored a load of goals last season for Sporting Lisbon, linked again with Arsenal. He'd be a lot more expensive. Sporting Lisbon are saying they want about £25 million to £30 million for him. Decent goal scoring record last year. Very similar, really. He scored a lot of his goals are headers. He scores, you know, very sort of like a target man striker, poacher, very similar to Olivier Giroud in a way, but he's been linked with a move to Arsenal. But it's more, the Perez thing seems more of what Arsenal would do more than Slimani. Mustafi, that is looking a bit more positive today. Shedra Mustafi, we were being told that Valencia are saying no deal, deal's off, he's staying, we want 50 million, blah, blah, blah. Now, to me, there's a lot of brinkmanship going on with this deal. Whether he's going to end up at Arsenal or not, it's going to be one of those that might run right up to near the window. But the positives today are that it's been reported out of Spain that Mustafi and his agent met with Valencia on Tuesday, and they were told that he can leave as long as they get the right price for him, which is said to be round about the £26 million mark. Valencia are saying if Arsenal come with that, we will let you leave, right? There's a lot of, I feel there's a lot of brinkmanship going on here. Valencia want the highest price they can possibly get for like their captain, one of their best players. They want to maximise the amount of money. They know it's Arsenal. They know Premier League clubs have got a load of money, so they're trying to maximise it. But it's looking a bit more positive on Mustafi. And we was able to get, say, Mustafi and Perez done, you know, again, that starts to look a lot more positive than how things were a couple of weeks ago. If we don't get Mustafi done, there are backups being lined up by Arsenal. There's another one being mentioned today. It goes by the name of Matteo Masaccio. He plays for Villarreal. He's 25 years of age and he's Argentinian. Now, he's previously been linked to Arsenal. When he was linked earlier on in the season, they were talking about round about he'd cost Arsenal, if they went in for him, about £12 million. However, looking at Arsenal's desperate situation to bring in a centre-back, no doubt that that price would rise and go up nearer to the £20 million mark. But he is being looked at more as a backup if the Mustafi deal falls through. And then there's still Marcel Tisserand, which I've spoken about several times, of Monaco, 23 years of age. He's very keen on moving to Arsenal. He was all lined up to go to Espanyol, but we're being told today that he's sort of put Espanyol completely on hold until he finds out exactly what's happening with Arsenal. So Arsenal do have, you know, they're playing their game as well, Arsenal. They do have backups. If Valencia play too much a hard ball, they could end up missing out on a lot of money, and they're not exactly flush with money at the moment, Valencia. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with that one. Phil Jones, remember yesterday I was saying that he's been linked with Arsenal. We're being told that Manchester United are saying no way. And the reason for that, reading into some papers, whether they're being mischievous or not, they're saying that Mourinho is refusing to do any business at all with Arsene Wenger. He truly hates Arsenal. What's his problem, man? Get over it. Get over it, Mourinho. But Mourinho apparently does not want to do any business with Arsene Wenger. So Phil Jones will not be sold to Arsenal. And if you ask me, he's doing Arsene Wenger a big favour, because Phil Jones, for me, I don't think he'd be welcomed at Arsenal. These ex-Man United guys, Welbeck was welcomed. You know, people like Welbeck, but some of these others like Phil Jones, you know, Johnny Evans, no thank you. They can all stay. We're all right. We're all right. So listen, positive. At least something positive. I had an email from a chap yesterday saying to me, Robbie, you've been too negative. I said, listen, what can you do when, you know, nothing's been happening? Nothing's really been moving. If things are moving, I want to be positive. I really want to be positive, especially going into that game against Watford. We got the Champions League draw today as well, don't forget, right? So, you know, we'll find out who we're going to get in that again. Have we got a team to challenge in that? We've also had the draw yesterday. We've drawn Nottingham Forest away in the EFL Cup. So I want to be positive. And if we can get a couple of signings in, I already said, if you watch my transfer vlog, we've got a very good team. You saw when we could bring players like Ozil and that off of the bench, you saw that we've got a very good team. We just need to add something to that. A striker is needed, really is needed. If we can get those things done, who knows what we could do this season. I know Perez is not, you know, if it was Perez, I know it's not Higuain, I know he's not Luis Suarez, but it's something positive because we need a striker. As a matter of fact, what do you guys think? If we do sign this guy, do you think that would be a good signing for Arsenal? Is Is that something? Is that a positive signing, or are you looking at it and thinking to yourself, yeah, Perez, Uzi, step backwards, right? Yes or no? I'm doing a poll, vote in that, and let me know whether you think it would be a positive signing or not. Remember, as I said, you don't always know the names when they come. I didn't know who Patrick Vieira was before he came to Arsenal, you know. So I didn't know Nicolas Anelka was before he came to Arsenal. So you never know. Although I didn't know who Yaya Sanogo was either. So it can go the other way. I never knew who Pascal Sagan was, and ended up not wanting to know who they were either. So let me know. Vote for that. Thanks for watching the show today, and we'll be back around about the same time tomorrow.